So this week of Dare to Elite, we're going to talk about the art of finding builders. And I'm excited to chat about it. It was good for me to every week when I'm like prepping for these, I'm always like listening and trying to cue in with other leaders that I love learning from. And so it was really good for me as well. But before we dive into that, one thing I wanted to do, if you guys are able to, go ahead and pull up your chat box, because I'm going to try to ask some interactive questions tonight. The first thing I wanted to start with is I would love for everybody, like as you think about so one of our values as the Living Drop Collective obviously is a different word for collective is another word for community. And so I would love to hear for you guys, where do you see that value being expressed in the LDC, what we do as a team? Go ahead and just like first thing that comes to mind, put it in the chat box. How do you see community expressed in the LDC? Whether it's like on the Facebook page or like in live in-person classes, in how you live out business, anything like that. Yes, love the stuff that's being shared. So good. Good stuff. So it's funny because you guys all took it the direction that I was gonna take it. I was thinking more from like a user's perspective. So like for like all of our customers, where do you see community being expressed? But you guys all took it where I was gonna take it, which was what that means for us as builders as well. But you guys are already saying those things, because it like fits every level. It's like for the users, they're experiencing incredible community and support, and therefore learning how to use their oils and change their health. But then for us as builders, obviously we're experiencing that as well. So that's so good. Thanks for sharing. So because we have a value of community, tonight I had a little surprise, and I didn't announce it ahead of time, but because you guys are all just like the most amazing committed people that have like just stuck with Dare to Elite, I get a little report of who's all on the calls, and I'm choosing a random a random person for a giveaway out of my stockpile. So surprise, yay, thanks for joining, everybody. Yeah, I just wanted to like acknowledge that and really thank you guys for sticking around and really just committing to your business and committing to like this community, because it's like you can watch the replay and obviously life happens and sometimes you just have to watch the replay. But the reality is you don't get the community as much when you're like watching the replay. Obviously there's no interaction. You can't see the rest of our team, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to start off tonight by hearing some of the unique perspectives of some of our leaders here on the Living Drop Collective. And so to start off, we're obviously talking about the art of finding builders. I wanted to really key in on some of our awesome leaders here, our builders, and what they have really experienced and benefited from as they've been business builders. So I prepped them all ahead of time and asked them if there's like 5 of these girls that are going to be sharing. And they are going to be sharing what the main ways are that they have been blessed through building a doTERRA business for like them and their family. So and then at the end, they're going to share one word that would like summarize what doTERRA has done for them as a whole. So Kelsey is first, and then Laura is going to share, and then Melissa, then Londa, and then Dawn. So Kelsey, go ahead and take it over.
All right. Hi, guys. If you don't know me, my name is Kelsey. I'm an educator on Melissa's team. And the word that came to mind, I don't know if you want to see this now, but when I think about the doTERRA biz, is freedom. doTERRA, so I've been doing the doTERRA business since last May. And doTERRA has just created so much.
You have to hold up your thing again.
Shut up, Melissa. I knew you were going to say something like that. But doTERRA has created so much freedom for me just through the oils. That's really how I got into oils, is freedom from some anxiety, depression, insomnia. So they've created so much freedom, just the oils themselves, but then also through the business, just freedom. I feel like personal freedom that I struggled through, like all those self-limiting beliefs that you guys probably struggle through. I powered through them and worked really hard through them, and that created some freedom and just confidence in myself in figuring out like how to do this business in a way that works best for me. And then also financial freedom. And I literally went from like barely paying for my oils, barely paying for my oils, barely paying for my oils. And then it was just like a switch flipped. And 1 month I was making money, and it was weird. Like all of a sudden I went from like a $60 check to a $400 check. And granted, it was like so much hard work, but that's just created so much financial freedom for my husband and I. We've paid off some extra payments towards my student loans, and then just freedom to like invest back in the business and invest in my builders, and now like help my builders chase that same financial freedom. Has just been super beautiful. And then the other part that doTERRA has blessed me so much through the biz is just people and relationships. I think it's so beautiful that in doTERRA we get to meet people where they're at. And how awesome is it that I not only work my 40-hour job, but that I literally get paid to like have coffee with people and talk to them about their sick kids or their anxiety or their mom who has dementia. Like, just such a beautiful place to be. I actually have people on my team who I didn't like before doTERRA just because I didn't know them. And now they're good friends. And just like even with Melissa and some of my builders becoming some of my closest friends, doTERRA has just created a lot of freedom and beautiful relationships for me. I am talking about you, Melissa. That's all.
Sorry, I'll jump in quick. Thanks so much for sharing, Kelsey. That's so powerful. One last thing. Can you tell us, I don't think you said this, how many student loan payments have you been able to make?
I made 3 extra, and that's in the past like 3 months.
That's awesome. So good. Cool. Love your word. Love all of it. So good. Laura's up.
Hi, y'all. So my word is hope. And I say hope because when I entered into this business, I was really skeptical. I first told Kristen I was never doing the business. And then Callie came and I was like, I could maybe do this. And so I thought I'd give it a go for a year and we'd go from there and see what happened. And so I dove in. Kristen. Did you get it? Okay, so I dove in and worked my tail off and basically was motivated through hope, like what the hope in the oils and what they can do for people and the solutions that we're providing for people, hope in the financial freedom, and hope in like my stress level and the idea of time freedom. And yes, hope is one of my favorite ones. It's true. But I know that for me personally, like I went into this, I quit my job at USF. I used to be in admissions at USF and recruiting students. And I really felt like God was just pulling me away from that, but I didn't really know towards what. And I opened my daycare because I wanted to be home with my littles. And I knew that I wanted to be able to spend more time with them and be a part of their lives more. But I didn't know how to do that without a financial stream of income. So with that, I quit my job at USF and I had 3 months to replace my income. And I did. And I was great at it. And I did great with daycare. And I maxed out my number of kids, and I was literally earning what I call my cap in daycare. Like, I could not feasibly earn more money in daycare because there's a state limit on how many number of kids you could take, and there were certain expenses that had to take place. Like, I have to feed these kids. I don't know. I have to provide them with, soap and all those little cleaners, and I have to clean my home. There's not a lot I could do to cut back on expenses, and my income potential was capped. So when I was looking at it, I was like, there's just not wiggle room. And we were doing okay financially. We weren't doing amazing. We weren't like stockpiling money at all. And we still have debt. We have our house debt. We have some student loan debt that's outstanding. And so we were really just focusing on, getting month to month and paying down our debt, but not in a fast way, not in a snowballing feature. Because of doTERRA, I worked my tail off for the first year, and I didn't know where it was going to go. And by the end of my first year, I was literally like on the brink of Premier, which I don't know if you guys know this, but Premier is like that tipping point, I feel like. It's a place where you really start seeing that your oils are not only paid for, but you're starting to earn some money back. I feel like either the 250 bonus or Premier or some amazing fast start are going to be your ways to really see that tipping point happen. And so at a year, we were able to say, no, we're ready to cut back. So I cut back on my number of kids. I stopped taking kids during the summer for extra income, and I literally dropped my numbers from 12 kids a day to now I'm at 7. So dropped 5 kids, and one of those is part-time. So really I dropped in half, so down to 6 really. And it's just been an amazing stress relief. My husband, I asked him today, I go, what do you feel has been positive about the doTERRA business? And his response was, well, you're way less stressed, and you don't yell at me so much. He goes, don't say that on screen. Well, it's probably true, though. I probably don't yell at you so much because I'm less stressed at the end of the day. I'm not so exhausted when I get done with daycare from just literally running all day. And so it's just been awesome for our family. But now we are really seeing the financial benefits. And we obviously took that step back in daycare because we were matching it with doTERRA money. And so it's been amazing to be able to do that and to have that stress relief in my life, and to know with the hope that there is more and more ranks to come and more lives to change and more income potential to really not only cut back on daycare, but potentially quit daycare, or potentially have my husband home, or the day when we are debt free. All those things we are really looking forward to, and we know that God's going to bless us with just through continuing to show up and be consistent and do everything that we have laid out for you guys to do and for us to do, because I'm still doing it, guys. I hustled last week big time. I almost swore. And got, quite a few enrollments, and was able to, I am brinking on my 1500 Power of 3 for the first time. So lots of big things happening just because you continue to show up and you continue to do your things. So, yeah, I think it's, well, as of today, it's 6 enrollments, but yes. So anyways, I hope you guys learned a little bit from that. And yeah, what questions do you have, Chris? Anything for me?
No, that was so good. I asked Laura to speak a little strategically because I feel like there are people out there that own their own businesses, and Laura was one of those people, and you can just hear how in her story, like, it's funny, like freedom and hope, they're so linked, but yeah, just like experienced some freedom to be able to make decisions again and didn't feel like in bondage to having to do it a certain way to meet financial needs that their family had. So I love that. That's so powerful. It's really good. Thanks for sharing, Laura. Melly Mel.
Laura took all my time. This is what my voice sounds like. So I hope I can handle it. Side note, Slim and Sassy Gum is a cough suppressant. I'm not joking. I'm like, crap, I'm out of water. So if you're coughing, Slim and Sassy Gum, that peppermint in the back of your throat's actually like super soothing. Bet you didn't know that. Bet you'll sell some Slim and Sassy Gum this week. Okay. I printed mine because that's what cool people do. Because they don't have black markers in their house. They don't calligraphy. Take a pick. A purpose, I had to read it. A purpose-filled passion. I did kind of prepare for this. My name is Melissa. Does everybody know me? I introduced myself on a call quite a while ago. I'm Kristen's first enrollment, and here I am. Just hit gold. Oh, no, that's not true. Just hit diamond, that other rank. And for the third time in 4 months, pretty crazy. Can't believe it. But it is a new reality for me. And I have always been a passion-filled person. If you've known me or raised me, then you would know that. I used to be really passionate about politics. In college, I was chair of the South Dakota College Republicans. I literally knocked on doors to make sure that people would register to vote. I am the reason that John Thune got elected. No, I'm just kidding. But those were big things back in the day for me in college. And then I got into TV out of college, and I was super passionate about that. And I lived in Washington, D.C. for a semester, and I was going to work my way up and Fox News and all that kind of stuff. And then I ended up quitting my job. And then I started working in chiropractic, and then I got super passionate about chiropractic. And I burned a lot of bridges with a lot of people that got upset with how passionate I was about them needing to get their spines adjusted and eat healthier and stop poisoning my children and all that. But yet it never really had this long-lasting purpose. It never really filled a need for myself or my family. It was almost it was always a passion just to be right. And when doTERRA came into my world, all of a sudden I realized that once I got past the year of just using oils for myself, I realized that the business was going to create an opportunity for me to be passionate about something, but in a very purposeful way. I wanted to be home with my kids, and my story is a little different than Laura's, but we were able to do it financially, even with me not working. But I'm too passion filled. My kids were babies, and I wanted to do something with my extra time, and here we are, doTERRA. Although I would say when I first started, I was planning to quit. That was my first question that I asked Kristen when she went over the comp plan with me. What does it look like to quit? So I never dreamed this for me, but it's just completely evolved into this purpose-filled passion that has allowed me to really create what Kristen always refers to as a bridge between the people that I am in life with and this vision that I have for them. And I felt when I was in the chiropractic office, it was either eat this way and live this lifestyle, or to heck with you. And it just created a lot of division. And now I feel I can walk in to a home that has a ton of chemicals and medications and all of these things that they're doing different than I am. And I have this balance that they love the smell of, and they feel calm when they smell it. And I don't have to tell them to ditch all their chemicals to fall in love with doTERRA. They just fall in love with doTERRA. And then all of a sudden I get to walk into their life and start having critical conversations about what it looks like to live healthier. And you get texts from people that say I just did the cold and flu bomb, and I can't believe how I feel. I used to have to go into the clinic and spend all this money on my medications, and then I'd be sick for 3 or 4 days. And it was I did that. I created that opportunity for them to make a change and move different. And that's just really, that's the first level of it. And then you get to a second level where I feel for the first time in our lives, we weren't settling for what works. It worked for me to be at home and not make money and my husband to cover it, but it didn't allow us to do anything else or dream about anything. And now for the first time in our life, we're dreaming. We're going to have all of our debt paid off in May, and we're going to have our house paid off in what could be 18 months, you guys. Pretty crazy. I'm going to pay off my house before my parents pay off their house. That's just not even heard of in this world. So, and it's just because of the passion-filled purpose that I have through doTERRA that's just created these incredible opportunities for me. We were joking, y'all, BOGO week. That's why my voice sounds like this. Well, I should have posted an Insta post on my laundry pile. It was literally like, I don't think I haven't touched the laundry in 2.5 weeks. So my husband did it finally, because we're like turning in underwear inside out practically. And he's did like 12 loads of laundry. It's all piled up on the couch. He folded the whole thing while I finished our diamond rank this month. And I was like, wow, how about you do that and I'll do this? I was just kind of joking, talking about like doTERRA. And he's like, yeah, I'll do that. If that's all I had to do every day, I'd love to do that. And I was like, what the hell's wrong with you? You just told me however many months ago you could never see yourself quitting your job, whatever. And like all of a sudden he's like, I would love that. And he's just dreaming for the first time ever. And it's just created so much opportunity for us to be on the same page for our future, and super exciting. We shoot guns up here. You guys play trains. He wants to take Cohen out to like shoot things.
He's like 2.5. That's so funny. I love it. So good. Thanks for sharing, Mel. Were you done? Did you? Yeah. Okay. Awesome. That's so powerful. So I was like, I don't know why I couldn't tell. Anyways, so powerful. And what I love is Mel's mom is going to share too. Maybe she's paying off her house too. I mean, edging on gold. So anyways, Londa is up next. And I'm super excited to hear from her as well. Londa and then Dawn.
Hey guys. So this is my word.
Wait. It's not flipping you to the front screen. Keep talking, Londa.
Okay. Did you get my picture? Or
no, for some reason it's not switching to you as speaker. I don't know what's going on. 1 second.
Well, anyways.
Yeah.
I'm Londa, for those that don't know me. And just a little bit about my doTERRA story. I got started with now I'm on the big screen.
Yeah. Hold up your sign.
I got started summer of 2015, I think, with $35 enrollment in a breathe oil, which is super silly. So I hope none of you did that. And then it was just a few months down the road where I met another doTERRA wellness advocate at a camp my husband and I were at. And I had just resigned from my teaching position. I taught 4th grade, and I resigned because it was just really stressful for me, and it was not something that I wanted to do every day for the rest of my life. And so I resigned, and I wasn't really sure what was next. And this woman, I noticed she had some balance oil in her pocket, and I asked her about it, and somehow we got started talking about the business, and I said, do you actually make money doing that? And she said, okay, you gotta wait, okay? Okay, just wait a couple minutes. My son is in the bathroom and he needs me to wipe him. So anyways, we were talking about the business, and I said, do you actually make money doing that? And she said, yeah, I make as much as my husband does with InterVarsity. And so when I heard that, I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to do the doTERRA business then. So we got home from that camp, and I emailed Kristen and I said, what do I have to do? What are the steps to do this? And that's kind of how I got started, which is quite opposite of a lot of people. But we were just in financial need, and I was looking for options. So I just wanted to share a little bit about what this business has meant to me and my family since then. Number one is that it's just really allowed us to dream again. If you know me at all, I'm just kind of a dreamer. Just crazy dreams. I have dreams of like traveling the world someday, sponsoring children from all over the world, adopting someday. And before doTERRA, those were just dreams, honestly, and not anything that I thought could be a reality. And just with doTERRA, my husband and I have realized that these things can happen for us. They will happen. Another thing is just this business has given us hope. that's why I chose the word hope for my word. But just that we have hope that how things are right now is not how they're going to be forever. Right now, just to be completely honest, we're living paycheck to paycheck, and we have no room for emergencies or like extra spending, anything like that. And just a couple weeks ago, we had to turn down an invitation for dinner with friends just because it wasn't in the budget to go out to eat. And so this business has just really given us hope that this isn't going to be like this forever. And there is so much growth to happen in this business. And then the third thing that actually my husband brought up when I was talking with him about it is just, Brian, just a minute, buddy, okay? Was just the relationships that have been rekindled. I think Ashley Rieger is on here right now, but she's a really good college friend of mine. And after she graduated, we just kind of lost touch. And I reached out to her to invite her to an oils class. I think sometimes a lot of us struggle with reaching out to people we haven't talked to in a while because we think, oh, well, we just want to sell them oils. But like, honestly, I have loved being able to reconnect with her, and I just appreciate her friendship so much in my life. And now we talk every single day. And I would appreciate her friendship whether or not she's doing this business with me. And Ashley is just one example. I have others as well, but just the rekindled relationships. And then the other thing I wanted to touch on for myself specifically is just the personal growth that comes with this business. For me, I feel like if I would have stayed in the teaching position, for me, I would have just kind of gotten stuck in a rut and going through the motions every single day, year after year. And with doTERRA, I have just experienced so much personal growth, learning about myself. Brian, I'm almost done. I'm sorry. Like the person I was at the rank of executive is not who I am today. And a lot of those limiting beliefs I was working through at executive, I've worked through those and I'm working through new things now. So I just love that with doTERRA, every single rank advancement is just really developing yourself and becoming the person that God has truly created you to be. And so that's kind of just what I wanted to share about the personal growth aspect is, just really learning about yourself and learning lies that you have believed about yourself for so many years and just getting rid of those. So, yeah.
Can you hold up your sign one more time?
Yep.
So powerful. Oh my gosh, guys. I wish you could, like, it. What she's saying is so true. Like, even just the confidence in Londa's voice, like, I love it because she, like, is finding herself and confident and, like, I don't know. It's so cool to hear that because even for me, like, knowing her through this journey is, like, so powerful how much that's changed. And she just has this confidence in who God has made her to be that wasn't there before. And so, anyways, so powerful, Londa. And Dawn Stee, so excited to hear from you.
All right.
Hello, hello.
Are we on?
Yes. Oh, there you are. I can see you now. Oh, but it's 1 second. Okay, go ahead, Dawn.
Yeah, I would prefer not to be huge.
I have to take a picture of you with your sign. Oh, 1 second.
See, we print stuff off. That's in our blood.
Talk again, Dawn.
Hi. Okay, I'll get started. I'll just get started.
There we go. Go ahead.
All right. So I am Dawn Stee, and I'm one of Melissa's educators. And my doTERRA journey began Well, let me just say back in 2014, I put my nursing license on hold. I was burned out. I was in need of a reset. I was exhausted, and I had some conflict of interest in the medical model. I had started doctoring naturally with chiropractic. So I had just, in 2015 then, I had started to adjust to a family income of quite a bit less. So being nervous about that, I did get started, Londa. I did get started with a $35 enrollment and one oil. I think mine was lemon, wasn't it, Melissa? But I knew I wanted to do the business. And I remember Melissa and Kristen put their heads together and they said, well, she needs to hop on LRP. And which I did, got on LRP, and I started ordering at 100 PV. So I did build up my inventory that way and learned to use the product and gained all that product knowledge. But yes, if I could go back, I'd get the natural solutions for sure. So anyway, I launched my first class with 20-some people and 2 enrolled. And then I followed up that week, and about 7 of them enrolled. And so I was told that I was strong in one-on-ones. And I was kind of happy with that because group teaching scared me to death. Yeah, I used to be so nervous to teach my classes, way more nervous than excited, but honestly, that has flipped, and I'm way more excited now to teach classes than nervous. So that word free, I haven't really told anybody this, but when I was at convention last year, I kept hearing that word in my head. And, you know, I'd already fallen in love with the product. I'd already fallen in love with the community of doTERRA and LDC, but it was convention that really impacted me. And I fell in love with the company, its founders, its mission. And I caught a vision of being free to be me and being free to be who God created me to be. And I love natural health. Even with my history of being a medical person, I love natural health. And the idea of pointing people to God's natural plants, knowing that natural is better, and the amazing opportunity for personal growth. Like Londa said, it's just amazing. Like for me to be in my 50s and experiencing the personal growth that I have, I know that I'm a better relator of people. I'm a better problem solver, and I'm positive. I'm a leader and a person of influence. I love being busy, and it was a little early for me to retire, but being busy but flexible is such a privilege with my doTERRA. Being free to prioritize and having values that align. So I have this belief in myself that I'm in God's will, and that I'm done doubting that, you know, I can do this. And I've embraced my journey of belief. And so I believe in the products, the company, and I believe in me. And moving from silver to gold, they say that is what happens. You begin to believe in yourself. So yeah, anyone that knows me well knows I'm very biblically driven. And so I know that God wants to use me. That's the biggest blessing in life, is to be used by God. And I know He's going to use me in this business. I believe that. And my example in the Bible, I love this example. Solomon in the Bible, what did he ask for? It wasn't something for himself. He asked for what he needed to help others. And that's an inspiration to me in this business, because I know that I'm in God's will and I can ask for what I need to help others. And so that inspires me and brings me along on this journey. It's such a privilege to serve God and to serve people and to be a blessing to those that He brings to me in my life. So I know I'm getting stronger. I know I'm getting wiser. I know I have more courage, and just being positive. That LDC culture has impacted my life. I'm standing in my truth of natural health and being bold about it. And for me, it's a walk of faith, but it's a journey of freedom.
Oh my goodness, so powerful, Dawn. I love that. Isn't that so cool, guys? Like, I don't know. What I love about Dawn is, like, sometimes I think it's easy for me to, like, be connected most to the people that are young because I don't know, like, there are some people that are older and just, like, kind of get stuck in their ways. But obviously, like, Dawn, you can see how, like, she is not like that, and she is just totally open to where God's leading her, and she's, like, ready for more every step of the way. And it just reminds you that there's so many people with influence that's been built over many, many years of trust-filled and important relationships in their life. And then when they're empowered with something like doTERRA where they can change lives, like, it changes even the way retirement looks, like the purpose Dawn has on her life now. It's, like, so powerful. So anyways, thank you guys all for sharing your hearts. And I hope everybody that's listening just, like, feels this sense of, like, I don't know, everybody has a story and our stories are so different. And so when you think about sharing the business, probably the most important thing is, like, listening, getting to know people and their lives, getting to know, like, where they have needs. Because that, like, in doTERRA, we're really just, like, solution providers, and the business opportunity is just one of the ways that we help to provide solutions along the way. And so, those stories are also beautiful. I love hearing that. So we're going to transition into some suggestions for what it looks like to find business builders. And I will preface right away that it's, like, so simple. And so, like, literally, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. The only thing that you need to know about, like, sharing the business really, like, comes down to one question. You just have to, like, listen again to people's lives and then be willing to ask this question. So if you want to go ahead and screenshot it, you can, or write it down in a notebook or whatever if you like the wording. But really, it's just, like, we're solution providers. So we are, like, immersing ourselves in people's lives and showing them how amazing the product is. And then we are asking this question when it's appropriate. And, like, I mean, when I say asking this question, I ask this question so many ways along their journey. Like, literally, guys, like, I would never enroll somebody without asking them or, like, giving them the contrast between what a wholesale customer is and what a wellness advocate is, and asking them, would you prefer to be a wholesale customer or a wellness advocate? I'm assuming you probably want to be a wholesale customer, but I just wanted to check. And the cool thing is, for your wholesale customers that really want to be wholesale customers, that's going to give them confidence and trust in you, knowing, like, oh, she's not expecting me to do this business. It's not like one of those weird companies where you have to sell stuff. Like, it's going to affirm in them that they're getting what they want out of their membership. And then at the same time, you're going to have these people that are going to say, well, I mean, I want to be a wholesale customer. Like, I want to, like, learn now, but, like, if I switch my mind later, like, can I switch? And then you'll have that note in your head. But it's like, it all starts with asking that question literally when they're enrolling. It's one of the reasons I love to enroll people on the phone versus just sending them the link to enroll themselves, because I get to ask them that question and see where they're at. It can also happen at a membership overview, but really, like, it comes down to asking this question and asking them at different points in their journey, especially if you feel like it's going to be a good fit for them. The thing is that comes into play with this is when you think about actually asking somebody that question, sometimes there's a little bit of fear that comes into play. Anybody else experience this? Like, fear, like, you think about asking somebody if they're interested in the business and you start to feel that, like, oh, like, what are they going to say? I mean, for everybody, it's different. Like some of us experience a fear of rejection. Some of us experience a fear of loss or a fear of success or a fear of judgment. We don't know, like it could be any of those. It depends on what your fear is. And it's important to know that fear and realize and acknowledge what it is, and why you're believing that. Because ultimately, like when we talk about sharing the business, it's an inside job first. We have to like think about why am I afraid to share the business? Or like, what is my belief about how well the business works or how it can change people's lives? If you don't have that belief, it's going to be really hard to share the business. And so the thing that I wanted to like cover a little bit, this is actually info from a lady named Deb Erickson. And so if you want, you can look her up, Deb Erickson I Can Institute. She has a lot of free trainings on her website, and I've just watched a few of them during my own personal development time. But she acknowledges something that I had never really thought about before, but when she started talking about it, I'm like, oh, that is so true. I think we all, when we go out in society, whether it's with our friends or our family or whatever it is, we're all internally judging the people all around us, and also at the same time judging ourselves. And we're kind of like establishing this like pecking order of like, oh, wow, that person's really confident. Like I'm intimidated by them. They're really successful. I'm not like quite as successful as them, but like there's this other person, they're not as successful as me. Like, I mean, they, whatever, like your judgment is based on them, you know, like, and I mean, I think we'd all say we don't want to be judgmental people, but we're all just like doing it subconsciously. We're like putting ourselves in this little pecking order. And the thing that's interesting is Deb talks about, I would say this is not like universally always true or anything like that. So she's totally generalizing, but it is based on some research. But, with women and men, it's a little bit different because men, I don't know where you feel like you fall on this, Michael. Tyler, I don't think necessarily relates to this, but men are like very competitive and very like achiever, like motivated. And so a lot of times they'll go into situations, and if they're like, for instance, expected to rate themselves on how valuable they are, how good they are in the company or whatever, a lot of times they're going to overrate themselves. And so they go into situations with pecking order, and they're always like establishing their value maybe higher than it is, whereas women are constantly devaluing themselves. And they're constantly thinking they're not enough, they're not arrived. Like even, I mean, I'm like, I do this in doTERRA all the time. Like, I'm like, it's just funny. But like, you think you're not arrived yet. Like, you're like, oh yeah, it's just like kind of this side hobby I do. Like I kind of know about essential oils when somebody asks you, but you're not like confident in the value that you have. And so anyways, this just affects, ultimately when we then think about people that we're going to share doTERRA with, a lot of times it's going to be easier to talk to people about oils that we think are at the same pecking level or like lower than us in this like order that we've established in our head. So us as women, when we're devaluing ourselves, and then we're thinking like, oh, this person maybe would be open to learning from me. Like they're not going to reject me. Like I'm not worried about them rejecting me, whatever it is. Like we do that to ourselves. And I mean, again, these are generalizations. So maybe like women or men can relate to this, whatever. But you guys see where this comes into play. And so this is where really it goes back to what you've heard as a theme in multiple of the people that shared at the beginning of this call. Just so you know, I didn't hear most of their answers before we started the call. So I did not tell any of them what to say. But it starts with that like personal development, internal work, because for instance, like, I don't know, I feel like social media is maybe one of the easiest examples, but it happens in life too. Like you have that person that you're just like, you look up to and you love so much, but you're like, you never talk to them or you never like share oils with them because you're like, you don't think you're as good as them or whatever. And the thing is like, I don't know, I feel like there's always something to teach us in those emotions. And I've talked about this before, like you see things in other people that you want. And so how can you start working towards those things to create more confidence in yourself? So really it's that, like, if you go back to our personal development call a couple weeks ago, it's the personal development plus the action that you take out of that, that develops that confidence in who you are. There's a reason you look up to certain people and you feel drawn to certain people and you would want those people to be on your doTERRA team or whatever it is. Those desires are there for a reason. So what can they tell you about what you are going to go after in life? And ultimately out of this, the biggest goal is we want to be intentionally looking and sharing and building relationships with the people that we really admire, and not always just staying in our comfort zone and seeking relationships, sharing doTERRA with the people that make it really easy for us and we're not afraid of rejection. And so I'm like trying to think of an example. I don't know. So the thing I'll share as like a preface to this is like, as you're sharing doTERRA, there's going to be people that you look up to, right? And I think we sometimes think like, oh, if I want them on my doTERRA team. So for instance, like this is total like unrealistic, but like Joanna Gaines lives in my town, right? So like how sweet would it be if Joanna Gaines was on my doTERRA team? But like the only way I'm going to get Joanna Gaines on my doTERRA team is if I'm friends with her. And I would want to build that relationship to then share doTERRA with her. Okay, so that's a completely unrealistic example. I've never seen her once in my life in Waco. There's a girl that I just shared doTERRA with. She just enrolled this week after probably like a good year of sharing, but I honestly found her on Instagram. And she does these things called power sheets, which are like a goal setting guide. And I found her on Instagram. I was like, oh, she's from Waco. This is so cool. And you know what I did? I just like messaged her and I was like, you're so cool. And you do power sheets. Can we have coffee? And she said, yes. And we had coffee and it was so fun. And now we've built this relationship, and she does brush lettering. And so we just did a combination brush lettering class, and I did hand aroma touches for everybody in the class. But like that came because I wasn't afraid of rejection. She could have told me no to coffee. And like, honestly, in her situations, like I didn't even know her that well. So that wouldn't have hurt that bad. But we have these relationships in our life. Maybe you guys should share some of the examples of people that like are on your chicken list, people that you're like, oh, I'd love to share doTERRA with them, but I'm just afraid to talk to them. But yeah, I think the important thing is to remember, like, as you seek those people that are who you want to attract, so they're this like higher level, like the people that you really, really love, there's going to be some really sweet stuff that comes out of that, because those are a lot of times going to be like the high vibe people that have like lots of influence or are really good at social media stuff. Maybe that's what you want. You want somebody on your team with a lot of techie savvy stuff. Or maybe you want somebody that carries a lot of influence, or maybe you want like a natural health junkie that just doesn't know about oils yet, or somebody that does yoga or whatever it is. Like you want to have that list of who those types of people in mind. So when you see those people, you're like, oh, that's the type of person I want. And then it all starts with just building a relationship. And so this was like part of what I wanted to talk about. doTERRA culture, just so you know, even though everything we see on social media from all the other network marketing companies is like this like pushy, salesy, like push the business type of thing, that's not doTERRA culture. So we don't ever have to feel this pressure to like put the business on somebody right away. It all starts with like building that relationship. And what I think Londa said it about sharing with Ashley. I've experienced that so much where it's just like I've reached out to rekindle a relationship. And I shared a live about this the other day with the girl I played basketball with in high school. I reached out to her, and multiple times I was catching up with her about life. And then I entered in with doTERRA, and how I shared doTERRA was I said like a problem and said the solution. Like I shared how like, I know you're like obviously more of a natural mom, you're a chiropractor, and we've felt so empowered with them. And anyways, so it all comes with like entering in and building those relationships again. And so one thing I want you to just think about, humor me. You don't have to answer the questions in the chat, but just like answer verbally in your head, or maybe you can answer in the chat. If I were to offer you $10 a month to share with one, or sorry, not to share, to talk with, like connect with 1 to 3 new people a day, would you do it? $10 a month. If you're like my husband, who's an introvert, he's like, heck no. And then, okay, what if I said, I'll give you $100 a month if you connect with 1 to 3 new people a month? It could be Facebook Messenger or text message per day, though. You have to do it per day, $100 a month. Tyler still said no. He's hardcore introvert. And he's like, no, not going to happen. What about $10,000 a month, guys? Then would you do it? 1 to 3 new people. You're just going to like message or text them, not about oils. You're just like connecting with them, building relationships. Would you do it then? Tyler was like, yeah, I do that. And the funny thing is, like, we're earning on average around $10,000 a month right now. And so I was like, oh, funny. That's kind of what we did. So really, like, that just like, that's my point, is like, it just starts with reconnecting in those relationships and asking people questions, living out how to win friends and influence people. Just like ask them questions about life, get reconnected with them, or maybe it's a new person. Like, this is one thing I was going to share that's helpful. I feel like this semi comes naturally to me when I talk to new people, like just knowing questions to ask, but I know it's not natural for everybody. And so one just little short acronym that you can use is FORM. And there's lots of these acronyms, but it stands for family, occupation, recreation, and money. So those are different topics that you can ask people about. Like, ask them about their family. Like, oh, are you married? Are you dating somebody? Do you have kids? Like, all those sorts of things. Like, what do you do for work? What do you like to do for fun? Like, do you have enough money to do the stuff that you love? All those sorts of questions. Those are great questions that you can ask people when you first meet them. And so I shared this story with my frontliners, but like, seriously, guys, I've been like practicing, because I'm like, if I'm telling you guys to do it, I have to be doing this every single day. And so I went to get my blood drawn the other day, and this woman in Waco, I was just asking her questions, and I did not ask her questions that relate to FORM, actually. But she had gorgeous hair. Like, she had gorgeous hair. She is an African-American woman, and she just like had this headband in her hair, and she had amazing hair. And I was like, your hair is awesome. And she goes, thanks, it's actually a wig. And I was like, oh, funny. And then she's like, yeah, I'm growing it out right now. And I was like, oh, I've heard that. Does it like break off really easy? And then she was like telling me about it, and I just kept asking her questions, because I was like, I kind of want to know, like, tell me about it. I've never learned about African-American hair before. And anyways, at the end of the conversation, she's telling me about the oils that she's using it and stuff. And then I was like, well, have you ever tried essential oils? She has it. And so this was like a really easy bridge into doTERRA. But it happened because I was asking her questions, and she presented me with a problem, and then I had a solution to offer her. So yesterday I met up with her, gave her the sample, and now she's like excited about coming to classes here locally or online. And like, there will be follow-up that has to happen from there. Like, I can't drop it, or nothing's ever going to go anywhere. But that's just an example of like meeting people in everyday life and genuinely being interested in who they are and what they have going on, and just asking them questions. And so coming back to sharing the business, what I want to like just like tell you guys is there is like no perfect way to do it. So if I gave you like a verbatim like script, it doesn't mean that you're going to automatically have like 100 new builders. There's no perfect way to do it. But what I will tell you is that you are the perfect messenger for your people. The way you say it, and the way that you genuinely care about them and their situation and their life and their circumstance, like, that is the perfect way to say it. Like, if you've genuinely invested in them in their life and you ask them, like, you're the perfect messenger. Like, I can't just come in there and be like, are you going to do the business? They're going to say no. Like, you're the right messenger for the people that you've attracted. They're already in your sphere of influence. And most of the time in doTERRA, I will say that doTERRA business builders come from people that are already on your team. There are some situations where you present the business opportunity to somebody first, and I'll talk about that in a second, but most of the time, business builders are coming from people already on your team. So the best way that you can focus on creating business builders is by heavily investing and educating the people on your team. If they aren't in love with their product and they're not seeing the benefits of their product, they're not going to probably be excited about the business. But if you are creatively looking for solutions to empower your people with your oils, again, investing in your life, do you know the problems that the users on your team experience? What are the health problems that they have? What are the things, what are the reasons that they were drawn to doTERRA in the first place? At the beginning, it's with every new user, it's so focused on that. You have to empower them around the solutions that they need. And once they start seeing those solutions helping them, that's when the light switches most of the time. Go ahead and post in the chat. I did not start doTERRA for the business. Most of us didn't. Londa did, which is awesome. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. But who started doTERRA not for the business? Literally, you just wanted to try the product. Go ahead and comment. It's all of us. Yeah. So you can just take the pressure off of yourself that you don't always have to, it's not just presenting the business all the time. It's really empowering your people with the oils. But then there are key moments. I'll give an example. Brittany Bush, I was hoping that she could share her testimony about the business, but that girl did not want to do the business. She hosted a class for me, which is where a lot of times it starts for business builders. And I asked her if she wanted to enroll the people, and she did not. She did not. And then she kept referring people to me, and she kept saying her friends wanted oils. And I literally said, Brittany, I'm not going to enroll them anymore. I'm not going to. You need to do the business. And then I talked to her and explained to her what that would look like. I said, your people clearly want to learn from you. They love you, and you are the one that knows their lives. She works with kids that are on the spectrum, have different behavioral issues. And I was you're the one that knows their lives. You're going to help them so much better than I ever would. They're going to come to you with questions all the time anyways. You might as well just enroll them. And I had to paint this picture for her before she was ready to commit. So there are those crucial moments where you have to step in, and when you see potential in somebody, you have to share the opportunity with them in a more bold way. So another example of how this could play out is if you have that person on your team that's consistently placing huge orders, those are typically people that you should really make sure that you talk to about the business. Because I don't know, in my opinion, it's just not fair. They could be paying for their product. They're probably getting product to their friends already because they're sharing. And so those people need to know that they could potentially be earning enough from doTERRA to pay for their healthcare products for their family. So anyways, just knowing that, I feel takes part of the pressure off, but also shows you where you can enter in that opportunity to share the business. The second thing I'll say is, there are some people like Londa. If I would have been a well-equipped doTERRA leader when she enrolled on my team, I was still learning so much at the beginning then. I had no clue. But she would have been a perfect person to share the business with right away, because the reality is, so say you have a friend in your life and they lose their job. What solution do you have for them? I have Motivate oil. You can diffuse it so it motivates you to go find a job. Who would say that? I have Console oil. It will help you feel better about not just losing your job. We're not going to say those things. And so in those sorts of situations where people have financial needs, doTERRA is an incredible opportunity for them to be able to earn an income while creating a massive impact in the world and empowering people and helping people. So anyways, that is a very awesome spot to share boldly about the business with people. And if you feel uncomfortable, I promise you can probably reach out to your upline and they can help you in the conversation. But it all starts with the question that we shared, which is, would you be open to the idea of creating a revenue, creating an income with doTERRA and essential oils by educating people about oils? It all starts with that question. The last thing that I was going to say is just that I know so many of you guys on here, like the reason you keep showing up is because you're like me and you're hungry for something more than where you're at. You're dreaming big dreams and you want your life to look different than it ever has before, right? And if that's the case, like if you're wanting stuff in your life that you've not experienced before, like for me, it's like never earned more than $13.75 an hour. I wanted more than that. Then you have to do stuff that you've never done before. And some of it's going to be uncomfortable, but that's okay. And in those places of being uncomfortable, we have to like create things that motivate us. And when we really like listen and hear people's needs, we like build relationships with these people that we love and we want on our doTERRA anyways, they're going to present problems. And there is where it's easy to step into that fear and provide solutions for them. And then just one side note about this. I know some of you might be thinking, oh, easy for you to say, Kristen, you're probably an extrovert. Because I am a little bit on the extroverted side, a little bit, more so than most people. But I definitely need my alone time too. Anyways, all that to say, if you on the Diamonds and Above page, there's actually a thread from a couple years ago where somebody asked, how many of you all would consider yourself an introvert? And you'd be surprised. There are a lot of introverts that are Diamonds and Above. I should have like calculated the percentage, but I totally didn't. Because you know what? Introverts can also be highly motivated to create time flexibility so they have more time to themselves, you know? So, anyways, it can totally be done and you have to do things to do self-care for yourself, but like just making sure you have those spaces in your life to invest in people's lives and have like build a relationship is so, so crucial in your business. If you hate people, you probably shouldn't be doing doTERRA. Just saying. But I know that's not you guys. You have such big hearts for people. And so the last thing that I'll end up with, and then if you guys have any questions, we should go through those. I wanted to start just putting it in the back of your guys' mind that the obvious fact that what you didn't hear in all their stories, Dawn touched on this. Again, I did not know what Dawn was going to say, but that worked out perfect. Dawn talked about convention and how it shifted things for her. The cool thing is we had, as the LDC, we had 12 business builders that attended convention last year, and 10 out of those 12 people since September have rank advanced. 10 out of 12. So what? Yeah, and some of them multiples. Like, for instance, last year when Melissa went to leadership, she was a silver. So that was a doTERRA corporate event that she went to, and she went to tons of little other corporate events that were in her area, Minnesota and Aberdeen and all that kind of stuff. And then she went to convention, and she went from silver to gold to platinum to diamond in that amount of time. She actually skipped platinum, but all that to say, like, events are an amazing way to invest in yourself and meet other high vibe people, meet other people that have seen how doTERRA as a business have changed their life. And I love what Emily Paulson always says. She like acknowledges, like she even acknowledged this like pecking order, right? But anyway, she talks about how you watch people walk across the stage as silver, gold, platinums, diamonds at convention, and your mind suddenly goes like, oh my gosh, they're a silver, oh my gosh, they're a gold, like this is crazy. And it establishes this belief in yourself that you can do it. And there's so many other pieces to convention, but convention tickets will go on sale early April. I think it's April 3rd. So that's something that you really have to start thinking about. Is that something that you're going to prioritize for you and yourself and your team to go there and invest in yourself and invest in what you're doing in this doTERRA business? Because, well, first of all, it's so fun. The LDC, us all hanging out together and learning about oils and doTERRA in the business is like amazing. But also just like when you're thinking about what you want to create out of this business, there's like so many powerful ways it will help you as you continue this journey. I will also just say there are like literally wholesale customers that come to convention because they love their oil so much and they just want to learn and they love it. Like they're obsessed with it. Like it's amazing. So or like think about that too as you're sharing it with your team. Like you can be strategically sharing convention and the opportunity and how fun it would be to take a girls trip to Utah or like a family trip or whatever it is to go to a doTERRA convention. So anyways, I can stop talking now, but I hope you guys felt like encouraged and empowered as you continue to share doTERRA and share how it can impact lives, because it's more than just the products. So do you guys have any questions? And they can be super practical. They don't have to be related to sharing the biz either. Maybe there's stuff with BOGOs. Oh my gosh, I forgot to acknowledge, like, you guys all killed it. Way to go. Probably established more oil-obsessed people during that week. One step along the way.
I had one of my daycare mamas who I've been sharing oils with since she enrolled, which was 2 years ago. And she just enrolled because of BOGOs. It took 2 years, guys.
That's awesome.
Of every day. Like, she smells oils in my home every day.
Oh, that's awesome. Tyler, do you know the answer to that question? How many elites do we have on our team? Yeah. Yeah. I'll come back to that question in a second, Ashley. For Gretchen, do I charge people to do a hand massage? No, I don't. I don't even charge to do like a full out 30 to 45 minute aroma touch for people. So when you and I meet, I can give you an aroma touch. But anyways, the aroma touch hand massage is an awesome way to share. I've used it so many ways. Actually, the first time I ever, like I did it in a yoga studio before they had their yoga class. I offered them to people as they were going in, and I got 2 business builders off that. Granted, it took follow-up, but yeah, Shania Nickel and Emily Wolf, I met them both doing hand aroma touches. 49 elites and above. I don't know if you heard Tyler or not, on our team. And then convention tickets go on sale on April 2nd. And just so you guys know, last year they sold out in like a day. And like hotel rooms and places to stay sell out faster than that. Like I think they sold out of the hotel rooms, like the blocks, like really, anyways, it's just good to plan and know in advance. Like if you don't get a hotel room, there's lots of Airbnbs or whatever, you can find a place to stay, but it's definitely something you want to plan for and be thinking about as we get closer to April. Yes, Laura's so right. The power of touch. Oh, it's so true. Any other questions? Did everybody enjoy BOGO week? Or are you all exhausted? Melissa lost her voice. Okay, cool. Well, oh, Gretchen, oh, don't say that. I'm gonna Voxer you afterwards. Don't say that. Thank you everybody for being on. Yeah, I just like, again, I want you guys to like celebrate the fact that you're continuing to show up, because I promise you, like the fact that you're showing up alone is like so indicative of what's to come. Your commitment to yourself and your business and learning and growing with this community is huge. And yeah, I don't know. I wish I could like freeze this moment in time and then go to next year and see where you guys will all be at, because I think it would be super powerful and our minds would all be thinking a little different, you know? So see it for yourself every day. Like, oh, one thing. I literally, one of my, oh, dang it. I'm like, where is it? I have an affirmation sheet that I've talked about in the past. And one of them on there currently is, God is bringing the right people into our lives and into our doTERRA business. And so I meant like in general in our lives, like the right friends, the right community, like all that stuff being in Waco, we're still establishing that. And so I meant that part. And then also into our doTERRA business, like God's bringing all the right people. So maybe your verbiage is different, but I think it's really important every day to like live in like like truth and not what I've done wrong so many times when I'm not being proactive about my mindset, and I'm like thinking like, why can't I find another business builder? Why can't I? Anybody done that in their minds? Yeah. Maybe that's your action step after this, just to write one positive affirmation that you can post on a mirror and think about as you go into every day. So thanks, guys. I'm
Chris?
super thankful for you all. Yeah.
It's the end of the month, so do you want to go through how they can report? There's quite a few people that qualified for prizes if we're doing that this month. I'm not sure if we can.
Yes. Well, we will have a survey again, and we have been working on that. So there's multiple qualifications, and we'll have those like listed in the survey, because I don't know if everybody's attended all the weekly calls and stuff. We'll have to chat about that, because that's part of the requirements, was attending the weekly calls. And then also the enrollments and such. So we'll post that survey on the 1st. And either way, we're obviously all celebrating the amazing stuff that you guys are shifting. Like, it's so cool. Isn't it amazing what has happened through, again, like commitment and just sharing. And BOGO Week is awesome. I'm so proud of you guys. Cool. Thanks for bringing that up, Mel. See you guys.